In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make these two cards, which are extremely similar. However, one is made using a large A5 machine, one is made using a Slimline machine, so one of the smaller machines like the beautiful Crafts 2 mini machine. And they're made using this fabulous new JND514 Toscana edges dies. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how we make both of these cards and how you can make a beautiful card like this or like this just by using a small Slimline machine. So to make that simple card using the JND514 Toscana edges, we're going to use it. First of all, I want to show you how to do this in a larger machine, and then I'm going to show you how you can do it using the benefit of the Slimline dies in a smaller machine. So what I've got here is a piece of coconut white card cut to 5 inches by 4 inches. And the fantastic thing about this beautiful decorative edge, which comes as one of the 4 dies in this set, is you've got a little point on each edge and a point at the end, and it cuts this beautiful pattern in and cuts the outside line off. So all I have to do is line up these 2 little dots with the lines on my mat, place that down, and then run that through your machine and cut it. Now obviously at this size it's too big to go through your small aperture machine, so if you want to cut it in one piece, you're going to need to do it through a larger A5 machine. So I've got the piece here already cut, and all I have to do is then just simply rotate it, place it back onto the mat so that it stays in place and it's back on the measurements. I then take the die again and take it to the 1 inch measurement down from the top, tape the die down, run that through and cut that. And that will give me this beautiful panel just here. So absolutely gorgeous panel with that double edge, and it just creates almost a die cut piece that doesn't actually exist. So here I've got a square that's been cut to 5 by 5, and by cutting this to the 5 by 4, it's really easy to get your measurements right, because I'm basically putting each of those edges 1.5 inches down. So that is exactly in the center. And again, I can take that. I've got some more foam tape placed on the back of here, and I'm just putting this onto a larger card blank. So this is a card blank that's been cut to 6 by 6, so one of your standard sort of sizes. And I've got some mats and layers on there, and I simply put that in. There we go. And then it's up to you how you want to decorate this. So you could stamp a sentiment on there, you could put a little sentiment block on there, you could put a little collections of the new Slimline Belinda flower on there, again through the center, or just offset to one side, leaving that space to put your sentiment in. So that's how we'd make this style of card using a larger machine. But I also want to show you how we can make it using the Slimline machine. So I'm going to move that to one side, and this time what I've done is I've cut my card again to 5 inches wide, but I've cut it this time to 2.5 inches. So I want 2 panels of that size, and effectively when put together they will give me the exact same size. Sorry, I've not cut that one right. So that one needs to be cut to 2.5 by 5 inches. So I have 2 pieces cut exactly the same. So I can overlap them just like that and get the same size, but it doesn't really matter on that way. So again, I'm going to take the die and I'm going to offset it and make those little notches just onto the inch mark. So get those onto the inch mark and tape my die down and cut it. And that gives me the perfect piece just there. And I place that onto my mat, just like that, making sure I get that even and on that inch mark. We then repeat that and do the same with the second piece. And this time I'm going to add a little bit of power tape in the middle, because power tape gives me that beautiful, completely sort of fresh seam on there. as opposed to just using some glue so it won't warp it or anything, because we obviously want this to look as if it's one piece. So again, place that down. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. So that's the point I want it to be on. Match the sides. And there we have an exact match piece. And all I need to do then is to use the other dies in the Toscana set. So I will take the insert die and the outside line that cuts it and tape that down and run that through our die cutting machine to cut it. And then I will take the outside die on its own onto a scrap of coconut white card, and what I want to do is I want to cut this to show you how both of these cut through the smaller machine. So on that, I'm simply going to take the base plate, take the B plate, and I'm simply going to run that through. I'm using my Crafts 2 mini machine, but it will fit on all of them with no issues at all. And a nice big handle, so it's an easy turn. So there is my ceiling piece, just to show you again how that size will fit exactly on your mini machine and all cut. So again, just running that through so that every piece cuts. There we go. So you can see here, that's exactly how we get our beautiful panel. And obviously I can take all those little pieces out of that. Sorry, went in at the wrong side. So just take these out and we would join them together to make that. But of course we've got our little centerpiece and we have our backer for it. So you can simply use some glue glaze on the back, which is one of the easiest ways to glue your delicate die cuts, as you can just wipe the sort of lip gloss brush across there and it's quite solid like this. And I made the width of this just right to fit our standard foam tape. So we fit on, and I love this. It gives you almost like you've got little pearls already on there, as the impression works so well on that. So we simply take some foam tape and we put that into the center of our piece, and that way we can hide our line and it gives us a slightly different version. So again, here I have a square cut to the 5x5. I'm simply going to add a little bit more foam tape through the middle of this. And once again, using the measurements on the desk, get that nice and even in the center. I've got a little bit of foam tape popping out there, so I'm just going to trim that off. Never be afraid to go back in and trim something off. Or if you have foam tape, one of the best things to do is to take a pokey tool and push it in. And then here I've got a slightly smaller card blank at 5.5 by 5.5, and I'm simply going to add some glue onto the back of there. And glue that down to that card blank. So there, very simply, we have two cards with almost identical look, made using the beautiful Toscana edges from the Slimline die collection, but we've made one as a solid piece by using a larger machine, or the same idea of card made in a smaller piece by using just a Slimline machine. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit us on Facebook?